Okay, we are live. Welcome to my first live transmission on YouTube as we raise the vibration and share the positive. For everyone joining me today during the live recording, I always invite the first person who shows up in the feed at the side here, and of course I always go the opposite direction in the feed here, to choose which deck I will pull the affirmation card from today. So either the I am vibrational and type in orange, or the I am sacred. And this is only while the show is live. And of course, as I don't know how many people are on, we have one person. So that one person, if you type in the feed there, orange or green, you get to choose the card. And guess what? You will have your claim to fame with your name mentioned on the show. So here's the thing. I have to say to everybody, I had an amazing week last week. I embraced lots of spiritual messages, lots of amazing shifts and changes. And if you haven't listened to my weekly reading, enough of this sheet, yes, you heard correctly, then afterwards, take some time, gather your thoughts, and I invite you to listen to it. And of course, if you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, you get all my recorded transmissions arriving in your inbox via email. So yes, you just click on the button below. Yes, welcome to another week. It's Monday, so let's give us a high vibe, as I call it. We were trying to do a high vibe, because it's time again when I have a new or returning guest joining me to have a conversation. It's time to raise the vibration and share the positive. But before we get started today, let me light my candle. Nobody is coming forward and typing in the feed whether they want orange or green for the deck, so I might have to choose. So candle is lit, going up on there for our guidance and direction. So last chance, orange or green, because if not, I'm gonna type something in there and pull a card. Okay, it's going to be green. I am sacred. So let's see what our affirmation, our focus, our direction is for today before we start this amazing. Okay, last time, and then there's a card. Okay, it popped out. Card number 28. I am sacred because my soul vibration is filled with optimism. Look at that beautiful sunflower. Nice. So that is our card for today. I love it. So before we commence, let me introduce my guest, Devanni Peters. She was live with me back in July. And if you haven't watched our conversation, The Truth Will Set You Free, go back and find it on my channel. She has a book coming out of the same name, The Truth Will Set You Free, which is a fascinating autobiography of how she found the courage, good girl, to leave her traditional Mennonite upbringing, her home, her family, in order to find the truth, which took her on an incredible 5-year journey. And from that, she transformed her life. Devanni is now a yoga lifestylist and shares much of her journey through the work she does. Later on, before we finish, I've asked Devanni to let us know how and where we can pick up her amazing book. So today, Devanni joins us all, to have a conversation, free and empowered. And during this time, we'll be asking the question, are you living a free and empowered life? And most importantly, what does it take to live a life of freedom and empowerment? Welcome back, Devanni. It's always fun and a pleasure to have you sharing this platform with me. And I'm quite sure during this time today, you will be sharing some of the many lessons you've learned along the way.
Yes, thank you, Debbie. Thank you. That was a great introduction. We're working on the lighting here, so if it isn't right, we give it a shot here.
Well, I look at it this way: it's always about the content.
Yes.
So if all the pretty things are not there, it's the content. Gail has joined us. Hi, Gail. Gail's joined us, so I do know, and you're just a few minutes late, otherwise you could have chosen which deck. So thank you for joining us, Gail. So at least I know the chat line is working. Yay! Yeah. We never know. All right. So
my favorite conversations are spiritual conversations. So
yes, I love it.
I spent a lot of time just trying to figure things out. I should let people know that I come from a German Mennonite background. My father was a bishop of the church, and I was one of 16 children. And so
Wow.
that gave me a very different upbringing. I think a lot of people might imagine. So
Yeah.
to me,
Whereabouts in the 16 were you? Near the beginning or near the end?
Number 10.
Number 10. Oh my
A
God.
lot of older sisters, everybody telling
Wow.
me what to do. Oh yeah, I didn't know how to be myself.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And of course, I know that from being in a family of 4, being the eldest, and being divinely instructed by my mother when she was off working or doing something, that I was in charge. And it was always such a heavy load to carry. So coming from the eldest perspective in a family of just 4, not 16, oh my gosh.
I know.
Anything that went wrong was my fault. So I can understand why sisters and everybody be telling you, don't do this, and all the rest of it. So
too much advice. Sometimes you need to kind of pull away from it all and make your own decisions. And
that's actually very true. And that's where I'm loving today.
Away a little bit.
Yes.
And this is another key to freeing yourself is setting boundaries for yourself. And I know the guru where I spent some time living, one thing he said is, the company that you keep is stronger than your will. So the people around you can have an idea of how you want to live your life, and but the people around you, they're a powerful influence.
Yes, they are.
And I didn't know this at the time or anything, but I pulled away from everyone. I knew that was something I needed to do, and to just take off all by myself and just be gone for a 5-year journey. And always going to yoga institutions and searching in that area.
So you were guided in the direction that you felt was what you needed.
Right. I didn't know how to trust myself. And just diving in, even though I'm fearful, even though there was these fearful things that would come up, you just kind of move through the fear.
Yeah. And I think especially now, more than any other time in our universal history, in mine anyway, where there are so many things that we can and can't do, the fors and against, the divides and this and that. And we're getting so caught up in so many things that are thrown at us. And in fact, my weekly reading this week was all about, I can't tell you what is the right book to read. I can't tell you what is the right course to go on. I can't tell you what are the right tools. You have to discover them for yourself. And that's exactly what you're saying you did.
Yes. And that is what is needed. Self-inquiry. You have to start to inquire about yourself and go inward more.
Yes.
And and it will shake your world a little bit, because
your friends
will change, because as you go through this process, not everyone's going to follow you there, and then they don't understand the process, and they don't understand the change. And so you have to take full responsibility for your life. And I think I did a lot of growing up. That's what I had to do. I actually had to do a lot of growing up and really take full responsibility for my life. No more blaming anybody for whatever's going on.
Right.
I had to do a lot of the work. And this is the thing. To live a free and empowered life, you have to do the work. And through doing the work, you're probably going to feel some pain through the process. And so I remember Chandrakant, he was one of my teachers at the Amrit Yoga Institute, and he was always saying, use the pain for purification. So that's what we do in yoga. You don't deny what's coming up. You don't deny those uncomfortable feelings. You have to feel everything, get more in tune with your body, and really feeling the pain and moving through it. And you're going to need a good support system.
Yes.
So finding the right people.
Gosh, yes. And this pushing through the pain is very much in a lot of things in life. I can remember just having a car accident and feeling that physical pain. And my physio at the time saying to me, you've got to do a lot more walking. I'm like, oh, it's so painful. And she said to me, I don't care whether you feel it's painful. The more you walk through the pain, the better you will get, the stronger you will become. So when you tie that into the spiritual side, she was so right, because every step I would take at the beginning was like, oh, I can't do this. And then as I moved along, and as I always say, every day, every way, you get stronger and stronger. Yeah. And I feel that's exactly the same in the spiritual. What we have tended to do and I'm guilty as charged, I say to people, is we look for the easy button. We want to fix it. We don't want to go through it. Just put the Band-Aid on. Put the Band-Aid on. And we can't do that because all it does is cover up.
That is for sure. We can't put the Band-Aid on anymore. You got to feel it fully or it will come back. And usually it comes back with a little bit more force. And so you kind of you start to learn that's the way it is because you're going to get this lesson one way or the other. And you can't stay in your comfort zone. It's nice to be comfortable in our homes. I can only be comfortable for so long. And then for some reason, more desire builds up within me. And I know the desire comes from within me. I believe the desire, I call it God. God places this desire in me so that I'll keep moving forward on this spiritual journey because I know that I'm here to help to help women to get into that freedom and empowerment. Because it's not an easy process, to be honest. There's a lot. There's a lot there. But wow, is it worth it when you go through it? You have to actually go right through the pain. That's how you burn the karma. Literally burn it, like literally go through it. And in yoga, they talk about like the posture, like going to the edge, like when we're in a yoga pose. Like you go to your edge and then you use your breath to help stay there. You don't leave the posture just because there's a little bit of tension building. You know, we're releasing blocked energy. So you got to kind of stay there for a while. Stay in the uncomfort for a little while and learn and practice how to do that. But never go over your edge. And this is an important part because I've been there a lot where you kind of go over your edge. And where you're in this extreme pain or you're so emotional, you're just breaking out in front of anybody. You know, I think we have to have boundaries and make sure that you're safe when you're opening up to people. But again, going back to the posture.
I'm not sure if we've lost Devanni.
What's that?
If we have, hopefully she's back on. And if you're still...
Okay, so I've lost you. I'm not sure if I'm freezing up and if you're freezing up. Okay, your screen just went black, so I'm going to keep going. So when you're in the yoga pose, you find your edge. And this is the same thing, not just in the yoga pose, but in life. You find your edge, but you don't go over because every time you go over, you're going to hurt yourself. Find yourself in the pose. Find the edge and use your breath as a guide. So when you're in a pose and you're struggling with breath, when you're in life and you're going through something, you're feeling the pain, you're feeling it, but now life is too chaotic. You got to know when to back off. Just like in the pose, you got to know when it's like, oh no, if I'm going farther than this, I'm actually going to hurt myself. And your breath again is your guide. So we can listen to our breath. If we start struggling with breath, we know, whoa, stop. The breath in control because the breath is also prana. Prana is what is healing in your body, right? And it's the Holy Spirit moving through your body. So it will guide you. And so that's the biggest key right there is the breath.
And I think one of the things that we do, I don't know if it's innately or instinctively, but if we hear some bad news or something bad is happening, we do this, we suck in the breath. And then it's like we hold it. And of course, it compounds down into us. And I always say to people, let it go, please let it go. Because, you know, it's an automatic response, I think, for a lot of people. When we hear bad news, we sort of go, oh, and we've sucked it in. And it's like, now you got to let it out.
And just, again, going back to feeling everything. I find that I've had a few family members pass away. Maybe we've all experienced some death, maybe even recently over the last few years. And honestly, this is just my own experience, but you got to allow yourself to grieve when something's going.
Yes.
I mean, you can't just move on and pretend you're like, I don't know, like a master. I don't know, but it's like I found that when people passed away, there was just this big celebration with wine. And even if there was someone who was really grieving, they weren't allowed. There wasn't this allowance to open up and grieve. And this is where our hearts need to be more open. And there is people on this planet that are going through a lot. And we need to have compassion and be there for those people. Kindness.
I always, you know, my grandmother actually said something which I think is more true today than ever. If you can't say something nice, keep your mouth shut. And I think at the moment, if we don't believe in something, or we're fearful of something, or, we feel we're right and somebody else is wrong, sometimes it's just best not to say anything, because we truly don't know. Even if it's somebody we love, we think we know, a friend, a relative, a work colleague, or whatever, we don't fully know what is going on in their life.
Right.
So we have to be compassionate, caring, understanding whether we believe in what they're going through is, at the end of the day, it's their truth. Mm-hmm. And truth belongs to all of us in our own way of how we, really get into that. So, I if I see something and I'm not sure, and, rather than go and tell them you shouldn't be doing that, or that, whatever, I might say, do you need some help? Or is everything okay?
Yes.
And or just walk on by.
Instead of just, and this is the practice of yoga, instead of always reacting.
Respond.
So you almost like pull back and just give yourself a little bit of time, like even a breath or two.
Literally.
About it. Or know that every time I get together with this group, this happens, and something's telling you that's not your group anymore.
Yep. It's not your tribe has changed.
You have to let go for a little while and see if other people are going to grow with you. This is a big one, I think, is because on the spiritual journey, I've found that I've had to kind of keep people at a distance, and it's been painful, but other people have come in. But it seems like it's part of the process of the letting go.
Yeah. And as I always say to people on all of my social media, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, unfriend me. I'm okay with that. Truly I am. But don't put negative or comments there, which is upsetting not only to me, to others. If I see something on somebody's social media and I don't agree with it, I just scroll past it. It's okay. I can do that. I'm not reacting. That is their truth, and that is okay. And I think more so than any other time in our civilization, as I said, in mine at least, I'm 63. So, I've seen some incredible things. I've experienced some incredible things. And I use the word incredible for good and bad, because it's incredible. Whatever journey we're on, we get opportunities, and I think this is a great opportunity for every single soul at this moment. And as you say, if that group of friends or that group of colleagues or whatever, just be nice. You don't have to hang out with them.
Yes.
Create your own tribe. Go to another tribe.
I think that's why Facebook, and I think I was looking for my tribe, and I know that there's others that are looking for a tribe as well. Like, this is the reason why I'm online, is I want a community of people who want the same things that I want, this inner peace and balance, and through yoga. So now I'm trying to find my ideal client who's in all this, because the yoga studios and that, it's all great. It's great. I found yoga at a fitness center, and it's a wonderful practice, the actual asana practice, but the posture practice is only just like a sliver of what yoga is. I mean, it's great. I mean, the postures, they help a lot, keep for your health, and especially for pain in your body. I love doing the postures when you're regularly doing them. When you're not doing them, you start to get stiff, and you start to know how your body wants to move. It's just a great healing practice, but there's more to all of the yoga than just the asanas. And I want to work with women who want to know more of all of it and feel the full transformation of it. Because if you are,
because it is even, because I think yoga, like any other practice, is not just about the physical. It's a mind, body, and soul connection to everything. It's encompassed what you eat, what you think, how you move, all of those things. And I think we sort of think of yoga as, I've got to get in a downward dog position or a and then we laugh about it, and we go, my body won't physically take me to that on that journey, and we step away from it and we go, that's not my bag. But yoga is more than that, because it's also mind. I always call it mind melding, which it isn't quite. That sounds sort of spooky and weird, but it's also the whole package.
It is. It really is mind, body, spirit. Yes. And, you can do the postures, even sitting in a chair, just do some twists, some forward folds. You can do it wherever you're at. You can work with that. But more than anything, if you start working with the mind, first of all, if you work with your body, your mind will follow. So you will begin to start to get more clarity just from that. But then you got to work on your mind, and that's going to help everything.
Yeah.
You can help heal your whole body through just changing the thoughts that you have. And like Patanjali says, that yoga is modifications of the mind. So basically we have this mind now, use it for the good, and for the good of everyone, for yourself and for everyone.
And I think this is why, for me, every night before I go to sleep, I have my gratitude. I share my gratitude to spirit, to any, in inwardness, the gratitude for everything that's happened during that day, even the things that could have not turned out the way they should have, but they could have been worse. So, maybe you lost your job that day, but it's being the gratitude now that you have your health, or all the other benefits that you have there.
And that's good. And gratitude, really, I just want to say something about that. Gratitude really does help shift things. But I think when they're losing a job or somebody's gone on, it is hard to find the gratitude right away. So that's where sometimes you go through a period. And everyone goes through, some people call it the dark night of the soul. You go through this time where you
shadow work
feel intensely, whether you've lost something, a job or a person in your life. And if you just keep moving on without feeling it, you can't fully live. You cannot actually be free, because everything gets stored in the body. And this is another reason why we do postures, by the way. It all gets stored in our body. And if we don't take care of it, we're going to start to create sickness in our body. And keeping it at a balance versus living to the extremes.
So some tips on dealing with grief, say loss of a job or loss of relationship, or somebody that has passed into spirit. Because I share things with people, and I'd love to hear your empowering ways so people can understand that, grief can come in so many formats. It can be a divorce. It can be loss of a job. We define grief usually as somebody we've loved has passed to spirit, died. And we haven't been taught or understand maybe that grief is far larger than that. So I'd love your thoughts and insights on this.
Well, I think with any pain, you need to feel it fully.
Yes.
So you're feeling it, but you're also doing practices to let go all the time too. So you're doing the breath work. So you're bringing your attention inside and just feel it as it comes up. Feel it. And I can't stress it enough that you need talk therapy is great, but you got to find the right people to talk with.
Right.
And not everybody's going to be open to listening to you, but feeling the pain, just really feeling, what does that feel like going through your body? And maybe having somebody guide you, or talk to somebody that can help you through that. And that's the thing. You actually get through it when you actually feel the pain intensely. It actually burns. This is what they call in yoga, burn karma. It's painful that it actually burns. Like there's nothing left of it.
Yeah.
It's literally burning up inside of you. Yeah.
Could that be like the anger that we have? Because it can be like fire. It can be painful in that way. I always say, anger is probably one of the emotions that we're supposed to sort of push down and not come to the forefront. And I always say to people, get the anger out. The quicker you get the anger out, the rest can start healing. If you keep pressing it down and holding it in, that's why some people have what I call this combustion, where it just goes, and you may not have been the source or the reason, but you're the person that's receiving it, and then after that comes, all the other different things. So yeah, I love that.
Well, when you spoke of anger, something came to me, like my grandkids, I watch them, and they'll get mad at someone or get mad, and they'll cry and they'll get all angry, and literally within minutes, everything is dissolved and they're back to what's given you. I've felt it. I told you where I was at, and now I'm done.
Yeah.
And I've done that as an adult, especially as an example with my husband. And he thinks, what? You can just get all angry and cry about it and then you're over it? I says, yeah, that's exactly it.
I love that. It's almost like the terrible twos.
Sometimes a good cry is like the best thing. I know that we all need to just sometimes do that, because you know what? Don't stop somebody when they're crying. So often people stick a Kleenex box in front of you, or they were like, oh, it's okay. What if you just let them cry? Like, let them. Have you ever profusely cried? That's all that mucus that comes out of you. Don't stop me from crying. I'm healing when I'm crying. So that's a big one, is just allowing. If it's a forceful energy that wants to come through, well, then allow it.
Yeah.
But we all connect with your breath, because you can go overboard on this. And, you know, those people who just can't get over anything, and that they're always like that. That's a different problem. They're not looking at all of it, or practicing yoga or practicing something that's going to help them through it.
Yeah. I find that sometimes we think we've let go of something. We feel we've let go of something. And then we go on that little hamster wheel and we go round and round and round and round and round. And it keeps on getting bigger and bigger. And it's like, you're having to go of this. You need to look at this within yourself. When you're ready, I always say to people, when you're ready, because I cannot tell you when, that, I love the terrible twos. I always say to people, if we as adults could throw ourselves to the ground and do the arm flailing and the leg flailing and the screaming and letting the anger out, because then the child gets up and it's like they sort of stand there like, what are we doing now? Are we going for ice cream? This sort of, it's gone. As you say, it's out. It's gone.
That reminds me of these breath works I used to do. This is my chapter 1 in my book. I went to this breath works. This was before I was even introduced to yoga. Deanna Lelam, she's from Malaysia. She comes out to the Essex County area once a year, and I went to her breath work. And it was this intense breath works that we did. And then during the breath works, what happens is a lot of stuff starts to come up, and your body starts to freeze up. And the only way that you can kind of release yourself is through sound. And so you start making these sounds and literally like do some screaming.
Yes.
You wouldn't believe what just comes pouring out of you. Yeah. It just comes pouring out of you. And it's done. Like, it's literally done.
Yeah.
It's out of you.
I've done this in extreme times of anguish in my own life. And there've been many. Come on, I'm human. This is how I evolve. Okay. And, I've driven off to somewhere where I can be in quietness. I.e. not lots of people around me. And I've just sat in my car and I just screamed and screamed and screamed. Except for one day, I didn't realize somebody pulled up beside me. And I'm like, it's okay. They quickly reverse back out again. If I don't want to be sitting next to my car, next to the crazy lady. But once I had done that, the screaming then turned into tears. And then I just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And then eventually it was like, okay, I'm done. I've got it out of me. Turned on the music on my radio and then drove back where I needed it.
It honestly can move that quickly through you. Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, there was some little, what I call residue coming up. And okay, it's not the big kabang that was there. This is now just small pockets that I know I have to address when I'm ready to do this. But grief is a really big thing when we're releasing and letting go and empowering ourselves, becoming free.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
So other tips that you want to share with us that can help people on this to step into their life of freedom?
Well, a regular practice, what yoga calls a sadhana. So every day you're going to do this practice, whatever this is for you. If you're not into yoga postures or whatever, find a practice, something that it's a spiritual practice for you. So you approach it like it's a spiritual practice, and you do it at the same time every day. Oh. And you just try this. They were saying even brushing your teeth. Let's say you make brushing your teeth a spiritual practice. Every morning at 7:30, I'm going to put that toothpaste on and I'm going to use this as a totally being present. Just try it. Once you start to do it same time, it has momentum. It has momentum when we do it. So if you're doing a yoga practice or anything that you choose to be a spiritual practice, and do it at the same time every day, it really gives it power. And if you are using like the meditation in the morning and in the evening are the best times to meditate. A lot of times during, like when we were at the ashram, we would have our postures every single day at 6 o'clock. It would be an hour and a half. And there would just be a short little shavasana at the end. But at 4 o'clock, we would lay down for almost an hour of yoga nidra and a meditation. So every day at 4 o'clock. So we got our practice. That was every single day. So this is what will free you. So you do that practice at 6 o'clock every single morning. And then at 4 o'clock, you do your yoga nidras. And then you do your breath works at a certain. So you have this time allotted for your practice. They're going to help and transform. But you have to make a commitment and be disciplined that way. And this is where if you're living in an ashram or living in a place that you know,
that's it.
you gotta really discipline yourself.
I know when I was many years ago, when I went to the Arthur Findlay College in Stansted, Essex, and we were doing training there, that every morning, I think it was 4 a.m., we had an hour's meditation. And I have to say, because when you're thrown in for a short period of time with people of like mind, it's almost like we would sit up till I think 2 a.m. in the morning talking, sometimes fall asleep in someone's room and then wake up and then the conversation was ongoing. Then we take ourselves down to meditation. And I said to somebody when we were there, I said, I think a lot of the time I've slept through this meditation. And she actually said to me, but you're there, you're present, and your body's absorbing all the information. So if you're not physically there because you're off snoozing, don't worry, it's all being absorbed into your cellular system. And I'm like, oh, thank you, because I just want to make sure, one, I'm not snoring or snorting, as I say, or two, that I've missed something that could actually benefit me. And, you know, it was a few of us would do that. I think we were just, because we were sitting on seats close to each other, we would lean into each other. Be there. So yeah, I do believe that when we do things at a set time, we get into a routine of it. And the importance of giving time to ourselves. As you
a big
say,
part of the yoga lifestyle is self-care, like so much self-care.
And I know for many folks at the moment, you know, this year is about balance, even though it may not feel like it's about balance, but it is. And that's for each of us to choose what we take as our balance and how we achieve it. A lot of people, I say, you know, you've got to make time for you, whether it's a set time of the day or set time of the week, or at least taking time out for yourself.
Yes, invest in yourself.
Exactly, because
you don't decide what you want for your life and how you want to live. Trust me, other people will decide for you.
As my mom
would, for your own happiness, you know. It takes some exploration. I gotta say, it's not easy, but it is so worth it. It really is so worth it to work through your pain, through what you're going through. And for me, a yoga lifestyle absolutely works because of postures and everything just keeps you healthy. And meditation is my absolute favorite because I teach yoga nidra, and I've got some out there on YouTube as well, some guided yoga nidras. So it's a guided meditation for deep relaxation and healing. And you got to know that the more often you do it, the easier that you can get there, and then the longer you can stay there. So depending on my day, like I've got these different meditations. Sometimes I'm only up for 20 minutes. You know, I just want to get a refresher and I just want to keep going. Sometimes keep me there for an hour because I just love being in that state so much that the rest of the world goes away. And I do feel like a different person when I'm done. So, you know.
And as I try and say to anybody, if they hear, sometimes people hear the word meditation and go, oh no. And then they do this whole, I can't do it, I'm not really good with it. And I always say to people, if you cannot sit at the moment and listen to a meditation or some music or something like that, go out in nature, go out in Mother Nature, lay on the grass, look up at the stars or the clouds, or go into somewhere where you can connect and just walk and allow yourself to be fully present there in that moment to connect. Then move on to all the others, because it's like everything else. There's no easy button that you can hit. And yes, okay, I can meditate for 20 minutes. Because I remember when I first started doing meditation, my mind was wandering here, there, and everywhere. I was a young mom. I had all this stuff to do. I had this and I had to do that. And I couldn't switch off my mind. And I always felt that I wasn't achieving anything out of it. But as time goes on, what I was realizing is my own blockage, if you like, of this is a waste of time for me, which was a comment that I made from time to time when I would go to the meditation group that I was able to go to at that time in the UK. I think this is a waste of my time. And the person there said, but you're actually giving yourself this time to be here. Mm-hmm. So even if you're just using that time to be here, and you fall asleep or you're off thinking about your shopping list or whatever, then let it be. And as time went on, because I wanted to do it perfectly the first time, of course we do. I was learning that, and then I would get information. I could write things down, or I'd have visions of things, or, so stick with it. That's all I can say to people, because
it's a practice. You do get better at it. Yeah. Like the more you practice anything, I'm telling you, you're going to get good at it. Even with yoga poses.
Yes. Like, and I think we don't set. Yeah.
Okay. You're kind of freezing up. So
don't set yourself up to fail. That's what is sort of my mantra now. Of so. I'm hopeful we're still transmitting here. Yes. I always say to people, give it a try. Like yoga, give it a try. And, don't just try it once and say it's not for me. Maybe try it for a little while. And as you said, I love that. You said you can do this sitting on a chair, and there are just certain movements that you can do that will assist you.
And then just sitting there and teaching yourself to do these deep breathings and different breath techniques. That's what's really going to shift. And then the postures, and if you do the postures with the breathing, with focus and concentration, suddenly you're using so many more of your senses. You're really in that present moment where transformation actually takes place.
Yeah,
and that's what we're after in the end. We want to transform. We want to evolve.
Mm-hmm. And it takes time, people.
Yes, it does. Yeah, there's some miracles. And if you learn just that way and you haven't learned anything, and is it really a miracle? Because you're going to go back to where you were. So it's hard. You have to learn from your mistakes. And it does take, but this is the reason why I want to work with just women alone, women in midlife, because it seems like they're the ones that are really serious about making shifts and changes, and working with these women for like 3 months at a time. Where it's not just the postures, it's the breath works, it's guided meditations, it's one-on-one where you're talking through what you're going through. Because you know what? You start a regular practice, things will come up for you. And I think I've said this before, when you're doing all these practices and breath works and you're letting all this light into the body, whatever's dark, whatever's in there that's dark, it's going to surface. Like, so your issues that you have, you're hiding from everybody, they're coming to the surface. And you want to have a safe place where you can work that out. And that's where I want to work with women, because I know it's not just a quick fix, a Band-Aid, and do some postures and we're all good.
But it can be, but it's not going to be lifelong lasting.
Yeah,
lasting lifelong.
Women who really want to create that change and transformation in their life. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of them out there. I was one of them. I am pretty much.
Yeah, I think we all were a lot of at some point in our lives.
Like, I know what it's like to be in depression. I know that we can use these techniques to help us to get out of that, or to help at least ease all of that. Or anxiety, and sleeping at night. We really do need a good night's sleep. Like, this is all for our health benefits. And I guess I'm still talking because she's frozen up. Are you still there? Yes. So working with women.
Yes, I'm still here. I can hear you. So I'm hopeful you can hear me. Yeah.
Yeah, you did freeze up for a while, so I wasn't sure where you were at, but I just kind of continued. We're going to see how this tape turns out in the end. I'm not sure with one freezing up and the other not.
I know. I'm going, So if any of the transmission is lost, apologies. We have, I say, it's out of our control whether the internet drops or rises or whatever within it. So I love what you were saying about depression, and especially at the moment, those emotions that are coming up for a lot of people because of what's happening, and it's something that a lot of people are trying to suppress,
right? Or they use medication, which is fine if you use medication.
I don't want to bother people with this. And this, yes, yeah. I wish that.
Yeah. I think you're freezing up. But
see. I said, you were talking about medication, and I was saying,
you don't need to use medication. Like, there is a way to do this in a natural way, but it does take work. It takes a lot of awareness. It takes the person's willing, because, it isn't like it's hard. It's not hard, but it's not easy. That's the only way I can describe it. It's not hard, but it's not easy. But it feels like it's really hard at times, but it's not really hard. But it's not easy. That's all I can say. There's this middle path that's very, very interesting to be on. I got to say that.
Yeah. And I think the thing with any transformation, and I always think of it like giving up cigarettes or alcohol or going on a diet, the transformation doesn't happen overnight.
And there's some
time. It takes commitment. And it takes a support group of people around you who are going to be there on your darkest day and your lightest day. The days where we feel happy and elated and stuff. And then we can go into especially I know, I've been on diets, bounced off and off all my life. Okay. So I know when it's that point where I'm losing weight, I'm feeling healthy and all of those kind of things. And then I go and put myself on the scales and I've gone up a bit and then I'll self-flagellate myself. So this is where, having that support and, somebody not saying, oh, here's another piece of chocolate cake. Go on. You want it. Of course I want it. Yeah. I don't need you doing that to me, please. Instead, take me out for a walk or something like that. And we've all been there. And so it is important, as you say, finding that group, that core, that tribe in whatever you're doing that is part of your transformation.
And get filled.
Yes.
And be there with an open mind, because it might not be what you think it is. I think everything that you're seeing out there is not really what it is.
No.
We're living in this illusion, and to free ourselves, it's going to take some self-care, taking care of yourself and putting yourself priority, investing in yourself. And I think there's more and more coaches coming online, because I think there's more and more coaches that are going to be needed. I feel like I'm an inner peace and balance coach, even though I whole lifestyle of yoga. I feel like it's an inner peace and balance coach, because it's going to come to that point where people need to be coached. You can't.
And I think that's a great name for your group.
Or guidance,
Yeah, so it can combine.
Step by step. Yeah.
Because I know you from the experiences you shared in the last time we spoke, and your struggle within. So, and as we say, it's all about mind, body, and soul. That combining everything, not separating it or segregating it, as we tend to do. We think of the mind part as being a separation from the physical body, where it isn't. And the spiritual or soul essence of who we are is all part of that package. I always say it's a bit like the good, the bad, and the ugly, in there. That is who we are, and how we jive, if you like. So I think that's a perfect name for your group. I love it.
Yeah, it says inner peace, yoga for inner peace and balance. And you just sparked something up that I've been hearing a lot lately. And this might really help a lot of people, because it really helped me. And is your mind will almost always lie to you. Just know that. The things that it thinks, and those thoughts, they're going to always, they're there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they don't have to control us, and we don't have to feed them and bring them in.
Yeah.
The mind will almost always lie to you, but this is the reason why I love yoga so much, and the reason why a lot of people love yoga is that the body will never lie to you.
Yeah.
So the more you get this intimate relationship with your body, and you go in and feel and really feel what's in there.
Yeah.
And I know I teach an integrative yoga, so we do a posture, or maybe just a few series of postures, and then we get still.
Yeah.
Listen to your breath and see what the heck just happened from that posture you just did. Notice the release. Don't just go on to the next one and flow. Flow is fine and everything. It's just really feel, where did the energy go? Because energy follows attention. So wherever you are going to put your attention, that energy, in other words, prana, the healing prana, is going to flow wherever you put your attention. And so when you do it more and more and more, especially at the same time, I got to say that if you do something at the same time every day and you get this momentum going, you will see shifts and changes happening.
I've got to ask this because I'll meditate when I get the inspiration or when I've got the time. And I don't mean that as I don't meditate, but if I've got a schedule that my day starts, I've got readings or this or that or whatever, my meditation may not happen till a time later on. So when you meditate, which do you prefer? You said you meditate a couple of times a day. So do you find you get more out of one time than another, or are they just different, or is it just a combination?
Okay, that's interesting. Well, thank you for asking that question, because that's really interesting. I'm teaching this, but remember, I'm practicing it too. And from what I've learned, let's say because some days are better than others, right? Let's say, for example, I'm preparing for a live or something else, something's going on in my life that's a little bit more where my pressure's up or whatever, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm going to get really strict. And for the next few days, I'm going to do it exactly the same time. And it's got momentum. I know it does.
Yeah.
And I feel the shift. I can honestly feel it. But for the most part, when everything's okay, and I know that I got to meditate, then I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it at this time. I won't do it right now. So I'm not like every morning, wake up at 5:30 and there I am lying down. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the ideal, but I gotta say I'm not 100% there either. But when I live in an ashram, when you do it with more people, and you're in
that routine. Yeah.
And I think this is where I really want to be a part of a group where we're all doing it. Encourage me too, because I can get away with not doing it, waking up and then doing it at the same time.
Yeah. Well,
I know that when I need to get serious, that's why when we pray and we're really serious, our prayers are heard. The same as this, like, something's going on in the world and something's happening. So all of a sudden get really serious and just do it for a few days in a row. At the same time, I'm telling you, it has power. So that's how I do it. I'm not 100% perfect on it, but.
And I've got this wonderful new guide helper in spirit at the moment that loves to do something at 4 a.m. Like, I get this wake up call from them at 4 a.m. Come on, let's meditate. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm back to sleep, bud. So I am feeling now after today that it's like, you need to do this. So
yeah. Oh, if you're being guided by spirit, yes, definitely listen to that one.
They like 4 a.m. I gather from doing a bit of research and from some people that have known this person when they were living, that 4 a.m. was their time that they sat and meditated. So I'm like, can't we just make it 5 or maybe 6 a.m.? And he's like, no, come on, get up, do it. So I sense that he will be very pleased that I'm actually going to stop trying to evade him and actually sit and do that. I do on occasions, I have to say, but it's not as a strict routine, because sometimes, I'll get that wake up call at 4 a.m. I'm like, no. I had a late night, a long day. I need to just sleep a little longer. We'll do this at 6, okay? And then he'll just go, okay, you're not there, fine, that's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to all be done perfectly.
No.
I think I've heard someone just say recently, if you do it 75% right, you're going to be a huge success. And that was in a coaching situation too. Like, we don't have to do it 100% perfect, but if we get at least 75% of it.
Yeah. But good. I do believe when we're conditioned, and I mean in a good way, that we're part of a group and every day at that time they all turn up, you're more inspired.
Yes.
I think that's what it is.
That's that's where when I lived in the ashram, I lived for a total of 8 months, where there was this structure where you woke up and you did the same thing in the morning, and you did that every day.
Yes. Yeah, so it was conditioning.
Boring. It's kind of boring. Okay, at 9 o'clock, you got to go in the kitchen, start chopping your vegetables. Yeah, you'd almost seem like it was a boring life, but it's what it took. Especially when you're healing, especially when you're going through rough patches, and everybody goes through them. That's
of course.
Get that serious structure in your life. I mean, later on, when we're all healed up, we can relax a little bit with it, because apparently Deepak Chopra doesn't even meditate, and he drinks coffee. So,
and I do too.
He's perfect because he's the guru. I mean, I drink coffee too, but I'm just saying, you know, you see these people like you think they're meditating all the time, and they're not drinking coffee, and they're you know, the strict rules of the ashram. But you know what? There's a time when we can
certain points when you've got there. So Devanni,
probably with the way that our world is going right now, we shouldn't be too relaxed about it. I think we should get a little structure and a little bit serious. I believe in for my own life.
Yes, for mine too. So Devanni, is there anything else you wanted to share before we sort of wrap up today?
Just that I'm working on finishing off my book, but I am taking pre-sales. Now, pre-sale is you go to my website and immediately you'll be prompted to go and purchase the book if that's something you choose to do. And so you get a discount, first of all, because when it comes out in December, it's going to go up in price. So that's one of the advantages. And I will autograph a copy for everyone who orders it. Yes, I will. And write a little note in there.
So what is the possible launch date?
What's that?
So when's the possible launch date of the publication of your book?
So it's going to be coming out on Christmas this year. So also with the pre-order, you'll get the free shipping or delivery. And so, yes. And so Christmas time, you should have your book. If you order it now, you'll get it by Christmas time. And then from there, the price will go up, and I'll be selling it and marketing it in a different way. And also, like I told you, I'm starting a group, or I've started it already. I haven't really done a lot of posting in it yet, but I want to create a community of women in midlife, yoga for inner peace and balance. And it was a lot about the stuff that we talked about today. It's for people who want to know more about this yoga lifestyle. So, and my goal is to get women to sign up with me for 3 months at a time. And this is where I want to really share the full, I don't know what experience. I don't know all the words, but you know what? That full aspect of yoga that I love so much. What helped me shift and transform? This is what I want to help other women too. I know what it feels like to be anxious. I know what it feels like to be depressed. I know what it feels like to have everyone leave in your life. There's been some rough patches. I didn't expect it through this process, you know?
Yeah. But that also makes it, I always say to people, this is where when we share the experience, it's coming from what we've experienced, what we've gone through ourselves. And it gives it, it's not so much more credibility, but, you know, as I always say, I've been there, done that. I've got the scars. Seriously, you know, so it's important. So I have got your Facebook. I'm going to put your website on there underneath the feed for this video. So anybody wants to connect with Devanni, please reach out. I love the fact that here's my Christmas gift to myself, buying your book. This is a perfect way.
Nobody knows me. I've been shut down for 55 years. And now it's all coming out. So I really hope it's going to do well. But I'm just excited to tell my story, to be honest. And you know what? Oprah Winfrey said, the way that we are going to change the world is by women telling their stories. Women need to speak. We're not stop telling our stories. I'm not talking about this person that can't give up in their head and they're just constantly telling their story. I'm not talking about that person. I'm talking about genuinely sharing so that we can heal for that purpose. Yeah. Not so you can we're going to hear your story 5 more times. I'm not talking about that person.
And this is where I always say it's the person that is walking their talk.
Right.
Because when we stepped into our story, if we walk that story and we've done our transformation and continuing to transform, because I have not reached perfection yet. I am still working really hard on that every single day in every single way. But I think this is where we get the credibility of the person that walks their talk. I love it. So before we say goodbye, just a reminder that all my Monday noon EST live raise the vibration and share the positive transmissions will be here on YouTube. Sadly, at the moment, even if you've subscribed to me on my YouTube channel, you won't receive a notification of any of the live recordings I do. So grab your diary, your calendar, and mark it in there right now. Monday, noon, EST. Join Debbie A. Anderson for a live session of raising the vibration and sharing the positive. Now, I want to share some upcoming guests for that Monday noon. And on the 24th of August, I have Ilan Azeli of Create What You Speak. He's joining me to have a conversation, Reclaim Your Power, which encompasses all the work and guidance he offers through his Kabbalistic work, sound therapy, and frequencies. August the 31st, Chris Lee, hypnotherapist and past life regressionist, author of 4 books in a series called Life in the Past Lane, will be discussing how to ruin a life, fear, guilt, and jealousy. On September the 7th, I have Perla Shumalas, who's joining me again, and our conversation is high vibrational healing, merging science and spirituality. So join me next Monday at noon here on YouTube as we raise the vibration and share the positive. I'd like to thank you, Devanni, for being here, sharing with us. It's always a pleasure. As I said to you, it's just so much fun. And I know we've had some transmission difficulties, and you're the first one that I've done this live, raising the vibration and sharing the positive on YouTube. But it's going to be a growing, loving environment. So thank you.
Thank you. This has been a real pleasure for me too. Thank you for having me on.
So bye to everyone. Have a vibrational week, embracing your true vibrational essence. Bye.
Just breathe.